Welcome to Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker, Texas Ranger podcast. I'm Evan Dalton here with my brother Adam.
What's going on?
And our fellow Walkerologist, Mr. Bob Leahy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. That's because normally we'd be recapping and reviewing one of the 200 existing Walker, Texas Ranger episodes randomly selected by Roundhouse Roulette. But today, we're stoked to bring you our special guest and man of many hats, actor, producer, podcaster, Texas real estate mogul, Sam Williamson, who has performed a wide range of acting and voiceover jobs and now helms and produces through his Molly Llama Studios. Of course, why is he on our podcast? It's because his experience playing 4 different characters in the Walkerverse and being taken under the wing of legendary TV director and friend of the pod, Michael Priest. Anyways, I'm done with this intro. Let's just dive right on into it and talk to Sam. Thanks so much for joining us, Sam.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me.
No,
it's awesome.
Thank you, dude. Yeah. And you're coming to us from Texas. And we're just imposters. You're right there.
I am right here in Dallas, Texas, born and raised, born in Mesquite, Texas. Stayed here, lived here, loved here.
Love it.
Kick some roundhouse here.
Man, well, we're going to have to get into all of it. Do you want to kind of just give us how you got started in the biz? The whole thing, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Dallas and then went to a couple of schools, started at Baylor University, transferred over to SMU, was taking 21 hours a semester, working 40 hours a week. And 2 weeks before I graduated, I decided, you know what? I want to go on the other side of the camera. I got my degree in advertising, so I jumped on the other side of the camera, walked in the biggest agent in Dallas's office, made it past her assistant, and made it into the iconic agent that is Kim Dawson, and said, I want to be an actor. And she said, well, honey, what have you done? And I said, a tribute to Rodgers and Hammerstein when I was 12.
Okay.
And she said, well, honey, you have balls. And I tell you what, I'm going to send you on a cattle call. And if you get it, I'll represent you. So I'll go into this big audition with 500 people wrapped around this building. And long story short, I ended up booking the gig. It was a national McDonald's commercial. And a guy named Gordon Willis Jr., who is, if you know about film and The Godfather, his father was cinematographer for Francis Ford Coppola. So he's coming up as a director and directed me my first commercial. So that year I did about a dozen commercials under his direction, Coke, Coors Light, Chevrolet, Pizza Hut, Mazatlan Board of Tourism, blah, blah, blah. So then I was in commercial hell for a few years, which was fantastic because I was paying the bills and everything.
And you got like unlimited McDonald's, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a bite and smile kind of thing. You know, it was kind of an image ad. So I was on set for 45 minutes with 3 beautiful women and a pool table in a barn in the middle of nowhere. And I got my first residual check because it went global. And it was, cool. It pretty much paid for college.
That's awesome.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Ronald.
And like, yeah, this is my job. This is what I'm doing. And then a few years later, it was kind of like when I said commercial hell, I was ready for, something else. And there was some stuff going on in Texas, film and TV wise. And so same thing, signed with another agent that really represented professional talent, working actors, TV, film, and so forth. And she kind of gave me an opportunity similar to Kim Dawson and sent me on an audition for a new show that was coming in town with Chuck Norris. And I didn't know really anything about it, except I walked in, did my audition, and it was for Michael Priest for Walker in their second season. And I got my gig, season 2, episode 22, 21. And that was a small role as an airline ticket agent on The Reunion.
Oh, okay.
With
nice.
Stuart Woodman, Jonathan Banks. We got to hang out. I had a few lines. It was great. So that was the beginning of my acting career.
Man, dude. For people who haven't listened to our interview with Michael Priest, he directed 70 episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger. Before that, he did Dallas, worked with a lot of famous movie stars. And that was the guy you auditioned for.
Yes, gave me my first break. The bigger break came the season later on an episode called Mean Streets, and I was Alan Tallis. Season 3, I can't remember the episode, but Mean Streets was a bunch of Highland Park-ish kind of kids that were privileged, that were bored enough to find pleasure in finding homeless people and beating them up and then videotaping it, coming back to their house and doing coke and whatnot and getting jollies by watching these videos. And Michael cast me in that. That was my first really big supporting role. The crazy thing about it, from then on, I was always cast as the guy that got the conscience. For some reason, I got drowned by one of the other supporting guys because they knew that I was feeling bad about our situation. But, obviously Chuck came and drowned him in the end and kind of saved the day. But that was a trip. That was the first big meaty role.
Now, we at the podcast here, so for listeners, if you don't know how it goes, we spin a roulette wheel at the end of every podcast, and it selects one of the 200. And we have been waiting for it to get on Mean Streets. Like, we remember watching this one for so long. And in fact, before we even did the podcast here, let's see here if I can do this correctly.
I think it was behind you, Adam. Oh, no, there it is.
We had a prototype spinning wheel that we did for a Walker watching party. And Mean Streets was one of the 12 episodes that we chose to put on this wheel that Bob built with the Norris selector.
Yeah, he's probably staring at me right in that scene on there. What's that dude's name? Who's the bad guy?
Yeah, he was the bad teen. I guess the ringleader of you guys. And I've definitely got some stills, including one of your underwater moments here. Well, let's pull these guys up here and see if you remember anything from this ridiculous. So, yeah, there was I think this is around the period where that horrible thing of there are bum fights that people had videos of that. And I think that was like a 90s thing. And Walker wrote a whole episode around it. And you were in it.
And the crazy thing is, whoever thought this is a good idea, let's write about this.
Right.
Think about that, sick bastard. I'm kidding. You can edit this stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I told my wife the premise of that episode just earlier today, and she's like, that is so over the top. And I said, that's exactly why we find Walker entertaining, because it just goes that extra mile.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that actually was shot downtown Dallas. That was a seriously cool stunt scene that we got to hang around for. So me in the front, Todd Terry in the back. Mm-hmm. Deus, he passed away about 10 years ago of brain tumor. Good dudes. It was fun.
This is a shot of you after you guys have presumably kicked the crap out of a homeless person, and then there was a car chase, and you got away. You rip off your ski mask, and you're kind of like, you're the one with the conscience. You can see in this photo. Everyone else is having a great time beating up homeless people, but you just couldn't enjoy it.
That looks like it may have been our first time, but I have a feeling we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Look how big Todd Terry's head is behind mine, though. That's what's crazy. These guys are all like he's swallowing my head in joy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, like, what are you saying? You didn't stand a chance when they put you in the pool later, is what you're saying?
No, I had no. Oh, this is when it gets like I'm really in angst about what's happening here.
Everyone else is watching the video of them beating up homeless people, and you're watching too, but you're like, maybe this isn't good.
No, I'm already thinking, who can come destroy these guys?
The ends in Texas Ranger, You
can see the back of my head. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And this is when they were like, oh, what? You don't want to do this anymore? Let's just drown you.
Right before this, and we had 20 takes, by the way. We had this under camera special cinematographer that came in this house in far north Dallas. And they had this indoor pool, which was insane in the mid 90s. That was basically their living room. And so right before this, we're having this conversation on the side. He's like, come on, man. What's going on, Alan? You're not part of the bunch anymore? Come here. I'm like, hey, guys, someone's going to catch on to us. It's going to get bad. Well, come on now, Alan. And he gives me a hand, pulls me in the pool. And basically, this is funny because do you remember in living color.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Wanda, Jamie Foxx played him.
Yeah.
And so that is my expression going, hey, underwater.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was thinking that underwater.
Unbelievable. And so
Legit.
they actually filmed it underwater, had some underwater cameras. This is not CG.
Yeah, it actually shot this on 35, which is incredible because today we just let stuff rip and just roll, which is an editor's nightmare. But then shows like this and like Dallas, they had unlimited budgets for film. They just shot and shot and shot, which cost a lot of money. But yeah, so it would be 13 minutes nonstop. Okay, let's drown them again. Let's go. And then I really wanted to turn these guys in. I wanted to turn the whole crew in.
Yeah. How many times did you end up doing it, or about? Do you remember?
20 takes.
Wow, man. Wow. Just didn't get the despair's not there yet. Maybe the 20th time, right?
I don't know the coverage they were going for. I think it was a little bit of let's get him really upset with these guys.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it looks like it worked.
It did, because I ended up calling Alex Cahill.
Exactly. And did a little phone call, show off the 90s cut. That's good.
You like the earring if you zoom in?
Yeah.
I got a
Earring.
loop on.
Yeah. Very, very good. And you're like, hey, Alex, there's this bum thing going on. Come have Walker beat up these guys. And that's pretty much what happens, right?
Yeah. And I say something like, well, the lines are hilarious. I say something like, well, first it was just drugs, girls, and a lot of partying.
Yeah.
And then things got really bad. I was like, who put the ... in there? And then I have the nerve to say, can I have immunity? Like, can you come see me? I'm like, yeah, let's go. What do you want?
Unbelievable. Yeah, and I think for the rest of the episode, that was it. You were like, okay, I'm out. And that
I'm
was
out.
it. Yeah.
And then Chuck comes in. You're not,
Yeah.
That's it. It's over. That was in Deep Ellum, actually, just a little tidbit. They put the phone booth there, and it stayed there for like a month. It was a prop.
Oh,
Just like not workings.
We forgot the phone booth. I would love to find that, though. Right?
Dude, that's classic.
It's somewhere.
There's one called Till Death Do Us Part, actually written by Cherie J. Wilson. We have yet to do any of these episodes on the podcast, but apparently she was kind of upset that her character didn't have any real background or development. She was always just handing out warrants or whatever the plot needed. And so she wrote this whole episode where Walker gets sidelined. He's in the hospital the whole time, so they can tell all these like backstories in between and whatnot. And you are kind of the reason for putting Chuck Norris in the hospital. I think you're speeding around on some like muscle car, yellow muscle car. Is that right?
Again, with the conscious. A little too late, but I get out of the muscle car. They pull me out. I'm trying to run everybody over.
Yeah.
They get me out. And the first thing, only lines I had in that one, and IMDb, you're not even going to see a credit with me on that, because I say, Daddy, help me. Like, the fun. Just
yeah.
I mean, you can't even stand it. Your muscle car is your muscle for Chuck. Even
Unbelievable.
that. Yeah. So that was a bit part.
Yeah. So you put Chuck in the hospital. Then you're with a bunch of teens beating up homeless people. Then you come around, and then you get a chance to actually be a straight up good guy, right?
Another conscious.
Yeah. In the lynching, which, to have Walker Texas Ranger deal with that now it's probably not the best title we could deal with, but there might have been to adjust that episode a little bit. But you play a deputy in a town where it's almost like Walker does of Mice and Men, right?
Yeah. I would love to read this, because I did print this out, because I love these descriptions. A well-liked woman in a small town is murdered, and townsfolk suspect a slow-minded man.
I mean, okay.
And that's Eric Ruckstatter, who was on Major League. He was, I don't know if you remember that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Catcher.
Yeah.
Played Jonah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm Deputy Banks. Michael Priest calls me in for this role, but I'd already I went from this variation. It's only 2 seasons or a few seasons apart, and I had this long hair in a couple of episodes. So I came in, auditioned, did the thing, and then show up on set, and I'm totally shaved. He's like, wow, okay, you're getting into this. The cool thing about that episode is that Chuck taught me hand-to-hand combat because I let my buddies in to take over this guy that's allegedly murdered this woman.
Right.
And so I got a bunch of big brouhaha boys that want to take him down, and I'm left in charge of the jail.
Yeah, because they have the mentally handicapped character they think killed some woman at the beginning of the episode, and they put him behind bars. They're at like the small sheriff's station, and of course I guess they call in Walker because the whole townspeople are there trying to lynch this guy. They're outside with their pitchforks and stuff. And so you're there and you're left alone and you're like, you know what? This guy probably did kill her and I knew her. I'm just going to let my buddies in and have their way with them. But then you turn around and you help Walker at the end of the episode. Man.
Yeah, well, right in the middle of the episode because we had just taken on sort of the town mob, and then they kind of let everything settle and trusted me to kind of hang out with Jonah. And I think the idea was I was a smaller than those guys, intimidated by them, and gonna let them on in because there he is.
Yeah, there you are. In the you're there with the county sheriff. You're the deputy there, and
a lot of trouble going on, boys. What do you mean? I was watching him. Yeah, huh? I was doing my job.
It's pretty sweet. Rattlesnake skin on the wall too. Love it.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, it's labeled Texas rattlesnake.
The Texas
just
rattlesnake.
In case you didn't know.
That's not a Diamondback. That's a Texas rattlesnake.
Okay. All right. Well,
all right. You guys know where that was shot?
No. Where's that?
Okay, so sort of in the beginning of Walker, there was a little play around shooting over at the studios of Las Colinas, but then they built this huge set over in an industrial park over in Farmers Branch, kind of north of Dallas.
Okay.
And that was all, I mean, it was like 50,000 square foot, office building basically. And one of the floors was all Walker stuff.
Oh, so did they have was that where CDs was? The internal CDs was over there and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that was all finished out right there. But then we did some location stuff, I think in Waxahachie. And then we blew up a building later in the episode when Chuck Trevette and I and Jonah are all, hey, that's what I'm talking about. Take that guy. Nice grab, boy.
See that? Yeah. So this is you fighting off with Walker, fighting off some, redneck hoodlums over here. And
all right.
Now,
yes.
And this is it. This is the aftermath after you guys have wrecked house. Now, so you said on set, Chuck Norris taught you some moves. Let's hear about this. And it was for this scene? Is that right?
Yes. No. Okay. So we did this scene and then we all go in and I'm left with the slow-minded guy by myself. And between this and that scene, I think we shot the next day.
Okay.
It's going to be just me fighting off my buddies that I let in.
Okay.
And that's when Chuck kind of pulls me aside and says, all right, let me give you some close-up hand-to-hand combat suggestions.
Okay.
And it was freaking awesome, dude.
Let's see what he taught you, because it must have stayed with you.
If you see this, I'm like just spinning like big side winding way out there. And he's like, keep it in close, son. Like,
okay.
Stay
Nice.
tight.
Okay.
Stay tight. Just feel it like, okay. And okay, there's a funny part about that though. These guys come in, I'm taking Chuck's advice, how to hand-to-hand combat for TV, for the camera, and it turned out pretty well, I think. And then Michael comes up to me several years later. Michael Priest directing this, he was like, he always texts me when he sees an episode. Hey, buddy, I saw you last night, and he said, why didn't you ask me to get more coverage on that? Because I could have come in and done some. There's a lot of action going on in your fight scene, not this one, the one where I'm taking on the other dudes.
Yeah.
And I was like, the balls it would have taken me to Chuck's giving me hand-to-hand combat. The director's right. Hey guys, you guys could give me a little bit more coverage. I'm feeling shadow over here, coming a little bit tighter. I know you're on 35 and you're running a bunch of film, but just not feeling that you're getting me.
Right. Let me tell you how to do your job, Michael. Okay.
Yeah. So then after I let the guys in, I take them out, but I'm still feeling, now I'm really ashamed. And then I have this,
come to Walker moment. Yeah.
And what I'm thinking in that confessional with Chuck is, Walker, I let you down. You're going to take my badge, Walker, and all this. What I'm really thinking is, I feel really bad that you had to give me instructions on hand-to-hand combat between my first scene and the next scene. But thank you.
You actually brought that into this moment right here.
That moment was shame.
That's actual shame. You're like, Chuck Norris had to actually show me how to, fake punch, right? Okay.
And not get enough coverage, too. It was a little bit shame back, too. It was a little bit like, right. How dare you? Did you see the look? Just kind of like a reckoning.
I mean, speaking of coverage, that's pretty magnificent head of hair right there.
Yeah, the Chuck Norris. Yeah, so you were talking about it. You were saying off before we started the podcast here that Chuck had a makeup person with him 24/7, constantly touching up the mane. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
right?
the crazy thing is, has anybody ever told you going on set? At that point, there were 3 or 4 Chucks walking around.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Kenny Gibson was one of them, right? He did a lot of stunts. And there was another one who did a lot of the karate fighting. I should know his name too.
Yeah. I knew which one was Chuck Norris, though, because he would have sushi for lunch. And so he was the guy everybody else was kind of like burgers and fries.
Oh, so you could smell him coming. You'd be like,
it smells of tuna and wasabi.
Fish. Yeah. That's a great shot. That's a great memory, though. Dude, seriously, sitting there one-on-one with Chuck Norris in that intimate moment. We had a few before when he was like, do you remember your oath you took? And I said, I'll never forget again. But I did forget it again. And then,
well, it's a small town deputy. It's bound to happen,
But he didn't take my badge. He kind of gives me the A-OK, you're good. There. Oh. How good I felt. Have you guys ever been skydiving?
No, but you do work with an organization that does skydiving for veterans. Is that right?
Oh, I was on the board of Bird's Eye View Project, which is a veteran first responder charity led by some Navy SEALs and former special ops guys. And so, we did this massive skydive with 50 guys that jumped out of an airplane and raised $500,000 for veteran first responder causes. Then the next year I went to walk on my own because I was like, we need to do something. They were like, we'll come up with something. I was like, no, I tell you what, I'm going to walk 100 miles and raise $100,000 straight. And they're like, you go. Yes.
For this organization, right?
That's right. The reason I was asking about the skydive, though, is because that's how good that felt. When you skydive or something epic, for like 6 months or a year, you feel just like Superman. After that day with Chuck, the whole thing on Walker, every time I left, I'm like on the biggest high in the world ever. And the greatest thing about it is on any TV show you're on or what, I did a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's called Universal Soldier: The Return.
We're gonna have to get into that in a minute, but the high from just acting with Chuck Norris overshadowed a movie. Is that what you're saying? It
overshadowed the birth of my first. No, it did not. But it was
close. It was damn close. Close.
I can still feel that, that sort of euphoria. There's nothing like it, and it's capture on film.
Yeah, those pictures. Yeah, it's like, dude, you got the approval of Chuck. I've got to say, I know somewhat how you feel because I sang the song Into His Eyes, and I was on a high. I'm still on a high from that.
He doesn't stop talking about it.
I bring it up they're like, is he talking about Chuck Norris again? Damn straight I am.
And he was moving to it too. It wasn't like he was just staring at you like, what?
It was ridiculous.
He was digging it, man.
But like you said, he had a positive energy is what I took from the experience, and it's probably about 2 minutes of my life, but I was on a little high on it afterwards, and I didn't have to jump out of a plane.
But you now know what it feels like. You don't have to jump out of a plane. because now you know what it feels like. You get around Chuck Norris, you get it.
Dude,
there's no drugs. There's nothing that can come close to that.
Yeah, and it's hard with the restraining order now, but I still try. You know.
Oh man, yeah. So
yeah, so that's 3 episodes in, and not just that though. You were on the spinoff show Sons of Thunder.
Yeah,
I had to. I don't have copies of this show. It's never been released. So there are all these bootlegs, and I was able to find the episode on YouTube, and it looks like you were in there for a scene to kiss a love interest of Carlos. Essentially, you stole a chick away from Carlos in the last episode of the series right before it got canceled. Talk about adding insult to injury, bro.
Don't put me in the role to take the lead's girl.
Your show will be canceled.
That's what happened. And we got some, dude. Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah, that was shot in a crappy building. I mean, it was a horrible building. It was probably asbestos everywhere, and you could tell it was, this is pilot. Yes, look at young dude with the glasses.
Yeah,
a little bit less, a little bit more hair than that.
Tie. Love the tie.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, and got to go in for the kiss, and then you get side eye from Carlos. I mean, come on, he's
brutal,
like
savage.
Yep. And dude, essentially, you got the hot date out from under Carlos in this episode, man. So,
do you feel any concern in my eyes about the 2 dudes on my 3 o'clock?
I think you're oblivious right now.
Neither one is Chuck Norris, so no.
Yeah.
No.
Look in front of my face, guys.
Follow my lead, boys. Sons of Thunder. Follow my lead.
You guys got about one more episode, and we'll see you later.
Peace. Yeah. So remember hanging out with those guys at all, or no?
No.
You're probably in and out on that.
Yeah, I was kind of in and out. I knew it was going to crash him. I'm just kidding. It could have been a great show.
Yeah, I don't know. And from your experience, sometimes you don't know what's going to catch and what is, right? It's just kind of like if somebody at the network was like, yeah, let's do this again. Let's do some more. Maybe it would have happened.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard not to spin off a success, but that's a tough one to follow. I mean, I can't speak to the new Walker, because I'm such a purist.
So you haven't even gone to watch the Padalecki Walker yet?
Nope, I can't.
Yeah, we did the first episode because we thought we had to comment on it, and it was happening right around the time we started the podcast, so of course we had to do it. But just from that one episode, we're like, yeah, we can't, man, we can't do it, man.
It's a waste of an IP, is what it is.
I can't. There you go. Oh, well said.
If you're a Texas Ranger and you don't know karate, come on now.
Cobra Kai, man, just go there.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that show. That's so good.
Same. If I'm gonna have a choice between the new Walker and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you never know. Who knows these things? But Michael Priest knows. That dude. It's the same thing when I first auditioned for a TV commercial. I didn't realize the magnitude of the people that were in that casting. It was Gordon Willis Jr., his dad's Gordon Willis Sr., all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize Michael Priest. And we've been friends ever since, 30 years.
So after he got you on Walker and you worked with him on a number of episodes, you stayed in touch.
Yeah.
Now you have your own production company, right? And you do a number of projects. And one of your projects that you're working on is a documentary on Michael Priest's ridiculous life, right?
Yes. It was the impetus to me starting my company, Molly Llama Studios, which, by the way, is an interesting thing. My wife's name is Molly and her favorite animal is llama. So that's about the extent of that.
Okay.
We just had our first film, went to South by this year.
Awesome.
World premiere there, which is pretty cool. Deadland and Vertical just released it. There's a day and date release November 3rd, guys. It's
awesome. Cool. Okay. We'll definitely have to share that around for sure.
And, thank you. So, in the very beginning of this thing, like you guys, I had this podcast going on called As the World Works. And it was just friends that had been inspiring me over the years, people that have mentored me, people like Michael Priest. And I had him on, and we talked for a while, and just great stories. We had to do 2 1 hours, and it still didn't cover everything. And I would say don't watch it because you'll see way more on what I'm about to tell you.
And we got those up on our episode page for our Walker-centric interview with Michael Priest, which is barely scratches the surface of what this guy has done. But we also shared around your awesome interview with him, the 2-part there. So it's great that you're fleshing it out and doing some more stuff.
Yeah, we're in post right now, and it's exceptional. A little trivia about Michael Priest. I don't know if you guys know this or not. His son-in-law, do you know who he is? Married to his daughter, Gretchen.
Piano player, right?
Yeah, certain piano player.
Certain little you got a friend in me.
Okay, you guys know this already. You guys have talked to him.
We're musicians, man. Randy Newman. I also have a restraining order for Randy Newman. So,
what a good dude. All right, so I just got back. I was in Brentwood at Michael's home a little over a month ago, and we shot this fantastic interview. And Gordon Willis Jr. came out. Still friends with him, and he shot it. And Michael and his dad were friends when Michael was a script supervisor in the 60s and 70s. Gordon Willis Sr., who's Francis Ford Coppola and all that, Academy Award winning guy, worked with Michael on several shows back in the day. So it was this like crazy thing.
Yeah.
Gordon Willis flies out, DPs for me directing. So I'm directing Michael Priest and Gordon in this crazy room of does
he have elephants on the wall? What's Michael Priest's man cave look like?
Oh, dude, it's pretty sweet. Oh, real quick about Michael though, I will tell you this: his mother, Thelma Priest, was the first. They called them director secretaries in the 30s. She was the first business manager in Hollywood. In 1934, she formed the first Script Supervisors Guild, which sort of handed the baton to Michael at 17 to start script supervising. So he did that for, 20 years. He worked on Muni on the Bounty, as you guys know, probably. Yeah. Everybody knows the big one was with Steve McQueen on The Getaway, Paper Chase. And then he gets his big break in the 70s with Trees of San Francisco, Michael Douglas and so forth. Did you guys know that basically his first, I'm not going to give all my stuff away for my documentary, but this is really cool.
Okay, Arnold
Schwarzenegger. Did you guys see his 3-piece miniseries?
No, it was on Netflix, right?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I need to watch that, yeah.
Michael's first TV directing gig, he's doing The Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas and Carl Mulligan. It's an episode called Deadlift, and it's about bodybuilders and steroid use and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now telling, I think it was Leonard Katzman, the producer, he says, I want this guy. Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, no, this guy can't actually. He goes, no, I've been working with Franco Columbo and these other guys at this Gold's Gym in Venice. That's the guy. So he put his foot down and got Arnold in this episode. It's one of his first TV. I mean, this is like,
wow.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he went on to big success. Fast forward, he goes on to do Dallas, got Brad Pitt his SAG card.
Michael Priest did?
Yes. On Dallas.
Wow. He also worked on The Incredible Hulk, MacGyver.
Yeah, hundreds.
Supposedly, Cherie J. Wilson brought him over to make the Walker set perform a little more like a TV set, less like a movie set. And he was there doing like 70 episodes, and then he went on to do Seventh Heaven after that. I mean...
Yeah, Jessica Biel. All these people have come out. I just talked to Cherie the other day, too.
Oh, awesome, man.
Have you guys met Cherie yet?
No, we would love to talk to her sometime, but, we don't know if we're worthy,
Every day, man. She's awesome.
Yeah, Cherie is the best.
I'll introduce you guys.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
That.
Yeah. No bullshit. Yeah, for sure. She would love it.
Yeah, someone needs to do the in-depth Cherie J. Wilson interview, and we'd be honored to do it. We want to get in there. We want the deets, and we got to put it on the record,
I will tell you, one of my first episodes I was talking about Till Death Do Us Part. She's teaching law school class. This is one of my first roles, too. And Michael directed that. she's a DA, obviously, Alice Gale, and she's teaching this law class. Chuck Trevette, they come in disguised and they're pretending to be taking over the class. And it's like, no, I'm just kidding, guys. That's just our friends. But there's this guy that's stalking her. Anyway, my character's name is Cody. I'm a law student. I had like a line, raise my hand kind of thing. And then she says, okay, yes, that's really good. So-and-so. And then she carries on, the guys break in. My brother, who's been a lawyer for a long time, back then was probably 10 years into his career. And I said, hey, I've got these lines. I'm this law student. What does this mean? What should I say? So I added lines. And when I raised my hand, I had this like, I can't remember the words, but it's in there. Okay. Is that a case of starry dices, or is that a federal pun? Blah, 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 blah. I went down the road and they were like, okay. And she looked at me like, what the fuck did you just do? And then they go, okay, cut. Ryder comes down the aisle,
with his taser gun. He's like,
and he was like, what'd you just say? And I was like, and I told him, he was like, all right, we're keeping that, guys. Put it in the thing. Okay, so good. Let's do it again. I was like, yes. So I don't think I had a name going in. Yeah. And then I ended up with Cody.
Okay.
And a bunch of other lines.
Dude, it sounds like you were on a few episodes that we don't even have on the radar on IMDb, right? Like for these smaller parts.
This was a pretty good part. Yeah. Chuck comes in looking for the guy, and I'm like, I think they went over there and having a little lunch. Okay. What's your name? He's like, Chuck Norris. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, Chuck. No, that did not happen. But it was, that was one of those.
He does break the fourth wall a few times in the series, so... like he listens to his own song in the truck, him singing his own song one time, and then
Chuck Norris exists in the Walkerverse, so they refer to Chuck Norris multiple times in the series.
Have you ever watched for him blazing the lens?
Yeah, as far as what do you mean?
Just like
when he just kind of looks,
accidentally
right down the barrel.
He makes eye contact with the camera operator.
You guys got to keep your eye out for this.
Okay.
Like now you'll be conscious of it because there is an ownership there that you do not even know exists until you do.
Staring down the barrel. Okay. All right. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right.
This is fantastic. You guys are doing this too, because this means a whole lot to me. It brings back such great memories and such there's so many more stories too about the lynching. There was a building that we blew up, and it was in the middle of Waxahachie or Wichita Falls somewhere.
Yeah.
And a woman had this house and it was on fire, and we were literally in this house hiding from the bad guys outside there. We were sheltered.
Yeah, so the end of this episode, it's like the townspeople are essentially going to burn you, the deputy, Walker, and the mentally handicapped character in a house. They're just going to burn you when you're in it. And your solution in the show is to hide in the trap door, wait till the whole house burns down, and then open the trap door, come out with smoky faces. And the people with pitchforks and torches are still waiting there for you. So what does this solve?
It was funny because I don't think I read I don't think I had a line or two, so I didn't really read the whole thing. The intent of like, where are we? What's going on? Until we were in there, I was like, what are we doing in here? There's smoke everywhere. There's fire. And I had that reckoning. Like, there's Chuck Trevette. There's everybody. There's our guy we're protecting. Why are we in here?
Yeah. What does this solve? They're trying to burn us. We're gonna let them burn the house down with us in the basement, and it's not gonna kill us too. I don't know.
Pyro's super close too. They were a little bit more generous, or not so generous. They were a little bit more liberal with their proximity to pyro and special effects and things like that on the set. So it got really close. It was hot.
Okay. We just watched an episode where a warehouse blows up with two stunt people right in front of it, and it looks like someone got hurt. It's so close.
Yeah, that's crazy. Have you guys talked to Julio Cedillo yet? Do you know who Julio is?
No, but I do, but let me break this down for you guys because we just watched all 3 of his episodes of Walker. He played Ernesto, guys.
That's right.
And he stars in the Deadland movie.
That's right.
That you produced.
Nice. Yeah, Ernesto.
He's also the main federale on Narcos Mexico. He's a Fort Worth guy. We started acting at the same time Michael Priest gave him his start.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the podcast I did 2 years ago is when I started Molly Llama. I've been doing this a while, but I started my company, and I was going to watch one of my episodes I had done over the pandemic. And there was a voice that was like, why don't you just watch one of these that inspired you kind of thing, get some clarity. And I was like, I'm going to call Michael Priest. And I was just about to press the keyboard and he buzzes me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is special for you guys. This is only a few people know this. I said, what are you doing? He was like, oh, good. I haven't talked to him in a few months. And he said, I really miss being on set and I like to do one more project before I leave the planet. Boom. I called my buddy Julio. I was like, dude, we're doing something. This is 2 years ago. And Julio's on set of a film where he's getting pulled back up by cables, getting shot. The harder they fall. And and he's huffing and puffing. I didn't know this, but I was like, you okay? He was like, yeah, what's up? I was like, Michael Priest, I told him what I just told you. He said, done. Passion project. You and I will figure it out. So I did Deadland, did some other films. And then 2 months ago, I was like, I'm doing this Michael Priest thing. I'm doing it. And it became just shining the light on him, paying homage to a guy that has 70 years in the industry. Obviously, a big time influence on my life by casting me in my first supporting role. Just one of those known enigmas that I'm proud to be a part of this still. So that's the story of how this all began.
That's awesome. And so you've got it all, for the most part, in the can. Now it's post-production. Is that the technical term?
Yeah, it's in post-production. Nice.
Yes.
No, the lingo, man.
All the editing and whatnot. And so, and it's evolving into something even more spectacular. I'll tell you guys on the next episode once we get there. But it's, listen to me inviting myself back.
Yeah, who is this guy? Oh, okay. No, man, definitely.
Yeah. So I'll photobomb your podcast going forward. Yeah, just wear Sam and then just put me up.
Dude, Sam just popped in. He popped into the cast.
I remembered something else. Don't kiss the lead's girlfriend. Don't school the DA. And don't show that you can throw a punch or a roundhouse to Chuck Norris without knowing you'll be schooled.
Oh, so that was the main thing. Like, you're like, oh, I've got this. I'm just going to go for it. And Chuck was like, yeah, no, maybe tighten that up a little bit. And guys, no wide coverage. We don't want to see this shit.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
And then they realized they had, oh shit, he's got this close up of him taking on these other guys. What are we going to do with this guy?
It's actually Chuck's hands, like wearing your shirt in one of the shots.
Yeah. Here, son, show you how to do this. I'm sorry, Walker. You take my badge.
Unbelievable, dude.
I was the slow-minded kid. The guy in the jail was fine. He's like, I'm really good at checkers. And I was like, yeah, you are. It's a good job. My buddies are going to come kick your ass, okay? All right, just stay there. Chuck's going to kick mine.
For listeners, this is the plot of the episode. He didn't actually do this. Okay.
No,
right?
I will say,
okay,
yes, that's true.
You did. You're a character actor, and you actually had to do all this stuff first?
Yes.
How many homeless people have you wiped out just to do that role for Mean Streets?
Man, we took out a dozen, I think. We kept the one at the end because she's more famous than the others. But
they made the movie Hobo with a Shotgun because of you guys. You know?
See how that went.
No doubt. That hobo got revenge.
I totally forgot that movie existed.
Dude, that movie was like playing on the same thing. Rucker Hauer, right? He comes back and he's a hobo with a shotgun and he takes care. You better watch out. You know, there might be a hobo with a shotgun in your neighborhood that remembers Mean Streets.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not in Dallas, by the way.
Okay. All right. Sure. Yeah. All right.
Hey, something really funny though, during that take, whenever Chuck was giving me the little thing on the side, Trevette and I don't know why we were just sitting there just laughing at each other. He was just over there and he was just looking at me like, and he just started laughing. And so I go into my Fire Marshal Bill. And so he does it back to me. And then we're busting up the whole set, cracking up. That's where I was getting to. We would do these takes. We was like, why don't you just do your job?
Oh, man.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, why don't you just do your job? And we just fall out laughing.
So
like,
you and Clarence Gilliard were the only people on set who saw in living color.
I'm not sure, but everybody thought we were these foolish children.
They're like, this is original stuff. This is good. Let's put this in. Clarence Gilliard probably was like, we're remaking of Mice and Men in a Walker Texas Ranger episode right now, right?
That's
probably what he was laughing about. That's what we're doing, right?
I was on Top Gun, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, dude. Clarence Gilliard, man.
He taught acting a lot. I mean, that's what he did until his dying days. Yeah,
at a Las Vegas school, right? He was teaching acting. Yeah.
In fact, he was teaching in Dallas for a while after that.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think I prompted him to do that because after that scene, he said, I'm going to start acting. I'd like you to be my first student. Because this shit right here,
look,
the whole Jim Carrey.
You got schooled by Chuck and Clarence Gilliard? Man, dude.
I know.
And he took you out on somebody's lawn? That's a high. I'd be riding a high right now on that.
No skydiving for you.
No. But are you still skydiving? Are you still doing that?
No, I got nixed on it. I can't do that anymore.
Okay. How many times have you done it?
Like half dozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It wasn't like a thing.
It wasn't a one-off.
No.
Tell us a story about, because you got into it for a second, this veteran charity that you do work for. You were like, what? I'm going to walk continuously for 8 million miles.
I was going to walk from Dallas to Waco, and logistically on 35, the highway between here and there, it just didn't make sense. So there's a lake that's got a 9.3 mile loop, White Rock Lake in Dallas. And started at 5 a.m. and just started walking. I was like Forrest Gumping it, man. And the furthest I'd ever walk was like 25 miles. And I was like, I'm going to walk 100. And I felt really passionate about it because it was, a great cause. A lot of charities that benefited from our efforts, and humbled to be a part of that. And people would just show up and be very supportive. And one's a guy named Brendan Wymie. He's a retired 20-year veteran Navy SEAL sniper trainer of snipers.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of a badass. So, I kind of like being, it's just the whole Chuck Norris thing, John Claude, just these.
Bob.
Lost him.
We kicked him out.
I didn't. My hands were up. I didn't kick him.
I don't know. I didn't see your hands. Hey guys, Adam here. We experienced a disturbance in the force, and Sam, mid-interview, was ripped from us, and the podcast was in turmoil. We will get back to it. It did get back on track, and he tells us a few more anecdotes and how he was working on Barney, the TV show. So you definitely want to stick around for that. But if you want to support the podcast here, you like what you hear, share it with a friend who likes Walker Texas Ranger or ridiculous TV shows. We also have Chuck Norris action figures for sale on our website, and T-shirts. And if you feel so inclined, join us on our Patreon page and help support our editing and further ridiculousness here on the podcast. And we thank you, everybody who's done so already. You guys are awesome for helping us do our passion project here. But enough of my yakking. As it turned out, Sam's internet went out or something, and then immediately after that, as if sensing we were talking with Sam, Michael Priest called Sam. So we got back together after that call, and we'll pick that up here. Again, thank you guys for listening and the support. Back to the podcast here. That looks like Sam. It looks like Sam.
I am sorry, guys. That was fucking crazy. My bad.
No problem.
No, man, all good. So you disappeared, and it was like a lightning bolt came down, and then Michael Priest called you. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was crazy. We were talking about some other ideas he had for our thing, and I had to take it. One involved Randy Newman, so
Heck yeah, man.
so that was cool. Real quick, where we were, Bird's Eye View Project, founded by a guy named Ryan Birdman Parrott, who's a former Navy SEAL. They call him Birdman because he was in a Humvee and hit an IED and blew up like 50 feet in the air. And they called him, you look like a fucking Birdman. And so he had burns and so forth. And he got back stateside and was like, really had a heart for helping burn victims. So he started Sons of the Flag. Then Bird's Eye View Project came out of that, extreme events for extreme causes. So that's how I joined in. And that's when I went on that walk, attempted 100 miles and fell out at 60 miles with Rhabdo 21 hours later. And Wymie, he was there with me. And I thought those guys would be like, dude, come on, it's Hell Week, bro. Fucking you don't quit. They're like, no, dude, you're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I love being around the hero kind of people. They're also super humble. They're just this air of confidence that just, it's not braggy. It's just Chuck Norris. It's very
his aura. You're like, oh, this is a tough guy, but he has a really chill vibe, right?
Yeah, I think that comes with extreme confidence. That your head's on a swivel. You're very aware, and you know that you can pretty much take down 100 people at once just by looking at them.
Yeah.
So, dude, thank you for having me. What else? Earlier you were talking about character acting. I transitioned into the voiceover world, and so that's where all that really came into effect.
And you did stuff for Barney, is that right? You did Barney's voice.
I was Murray, the web surfing mouse. He was the first animated character they had on Barney.
Oh wow!
It would cost like And
hey guys, what's up, purple guy? That's me.
Okay, so that was Murray.
Yes.
And he would he was the mouse, and he would plug his tail in to the computer, and they didn't have Google. They would Google things back then, and he would learn about
Alta Vista.
Exactly. Yes. On DOS.
Unbelievable.
And then, commercials, video games, Brothers in Arms, things like that. Have quite a range. Hurricane Harbor, Six Flags, went a little bit something like this.
Cool off at the biggest water park in North Texas, Hurricane Harbor. Bigger, better, wetter than ever.
So I could go like that crazy.
Wow! Yeah.
We need you to do some of the voiceover work here.
Yeah,
whatever you guys want.
Okay,
Dude, dial me in. Let's do something together, you guys.
Well, for one, I mean, we're gonna need you to help take us out, and we can keep going after this. But before we forget, lest we forget, would you be able to say, "May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you"?
Do you want me to say that, or do you want me to sing it?
You can do whatever you feel.
That's y'all's line.
That's how we end it. Yeah.
Okay, can I give you a couple of variations?
Oh,
okay, yeah.
please.
You can do 20 takes.
Can I do Murray?
Yeah, you could do Murray the web surfing mouse.
Okay.
May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you. Hey, Barney.
May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you. May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you. Is there an inflection that I need to use? Can you give me a little coaching there?
Well, we usually just go, may the eyes of the Ranger be upon you.
Oh, I got a boner.
Well, that's Bob's voice. Yeah, right there.
Bob's
why
been
do I need to do this?
Yeah, Bob reads the fanfic from Walker all the time. So
Yes.
he records.
Let me
records
try
us the
his.
tape.
Let me take his lead on this. May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you. Why do I have to be out of breath? Because he's so good. Bob, welcome back. Dude,
Bob's back in the game.
I got a song for you. Stroke me. No, I'm just kidding, Bob. I'm glad you're back, bro. When does he get to chime in?
I don't know, Bob. When are you going to come in and take the lead, Bob? What's
He's
going on here?
Enigma.
What are you talking about on the
Oh,
podcast?
there it is. Yeah. Yeah,
He
on
just comes in
everything.
with the sex appeal at the end with, "May the eyes of the ranger be upon you."
Exactly.
He's like Don LaFontaine. You're going to give him movie phone. Oh my God. You just remind me. Did you guys remember movie phone?
Oh, yeah. When you had to call up for the movies. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone.
Oh,
If
God,
you know the name of the movie you want to see, press 1.
Yeah, that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. This is fucking awesome. Keep rocking it.
Yeah, man. Stay in touch, dude. We appreciate it. Where can folks find you online if they want to follow what you're doing, your projects, all that stuff?
Yeah, Samuel L. Williamson is my sign on Insta and whatnot. Or Molly Llama Studios, mollyllamastudios.com.
Awesome.
Like I told you, Deadland's coming out to theaters, streaming November 3rd. That'll be announced. Keep your eyes out for that. I got a really cool film in the process right now. We are in a development deal. It's called The Fix. It was written by a guy named David Elliott, who wrote Four Brothers. I don't know if you guys remember that film with Mark Wahlberg. He's a successful writer. We got engaged to write this over the last year. Imagine Moneyball, House of Cards, Casino, and Wall Street have a baby. That's The Fix.
Nice.
Okay.
There you go. That's my plug. Keep your eye out for that. A lot of cool stuff going on. Thank you guys for letting me plug that in.
Yeah, man, totally. And we'll share all this stuff up on the episode page for this podcast if people want to check it out. And dude, Sam, thanks for hanging, man.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you guys. My pleasure. Let's do it again. Walk on.
Love it.
Walk on.
Listeners, we hope you'll join us next time when we return to our normal format, recapping and reviewing another bone-crushing episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. In the meantime, please share your opinions with us on social media and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It truly helps other Walkerites find the cast. But most importantly, we thank you guys for listening. And until next time, Sam, will you take us out?
May the eyes of the Ranger be upon you.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the Ranger's gonna be.